Welcome to Your Gospel here on Gospel for Grampian. Your Gospel is all about making sure that wherever you come from, you'll be able to hear the Gospel. This is Your Gospel in French.
Jean chapitre 3 verset 16. Car Dieu a tant aimé le monde qu'il a donné son Fils unique, afin que quiconque croit en lui ne périsse point, mais qu'il ait la vie éternelle.
Your Gospel aims to make the Gospel available in languages from around the world. It's taken from John chapter 3 verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but shall have everlasting life. Look out for more from Your Gospel at the top of the hour every hour on Gospel for Grampian. Listen.g4g.org.uk. If you'd like to catch up with our podcasts, then it's podcast.g4g.org.uk. Thank you for listening.
I am Ishbel Imri, and you are listening to Gospel for Grampian, community radio for the north of Scotland, here to enrich lives. I am Ishbel Imri, and you are listening to Gospel for Grampian, community radio for the north of Scotland, here to enrich lives.
A very good afternoon to you and welcome along to this Community Elements program here on Gospel for Grampian. Right, in this show today, first of all, we've got Brian's good news, and then our second community element. We're going to be going and thinking rather greener. Yes, you've been probably seeing TV programs produced by various people, not least, of course, Blue Planet Live, Blue Planet 2, in which many of the TV personalities have been speaking and really helping us to understand even more about the effects that we cause as human beings on the environment. And last night I was actually watching a program by Steve Bagshaw, one of these TV presenters, and he and a team went off to Greenland, and it was a very stark reminder of how quickly the glaciers and ice sheets are reducing, even as a result of us using fossil fuels like oil and gas, using our cars and such like. But I've managed to find some tips that each one of us could put into action and make a difference, not only where we are, but if we all did it, we could make a huge, huge difference indeed. So think about that one. First of all, it's Brian's good news. Good afternoon. Welcome along to this Community Elements program. And with me is Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hello there, Robert. How are you?
Robert? That's my Sunday name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rob.
Anyway, thanks very much. And Brian's got another good collection of good news stories for you today, starting with the story of some Shetland ponies.
Indeed. Care home residents have been given the chance to meet some unusual four-legged visitors as part of a pet therapy programme. The Grove Care Home in Kemney welcomed 2 Shetland ponies, which have been specially trained and bring joy to pensioners living in assisted accommodation. Staff at the Melmore facility wanted to give residents in their care a chance to meet and interact with the animals. They were encouraged to get to know the ponies as the animals trotted around the building, greeting pensioners in their chairs. One care home resident said the ponies were lovely and very well behaved. Animal-assisted therapy has been shown to be beneficial in elderly care, as physical contact with the animals encourages communication, can reduce stress and anxiety, and improve motor skills and self-esteem. Karen Paul, care home manager at Grove Care Home, said, "It's not every day you get ponies wandering through the home, so it was lovely for the residents to have the opportunity to enjoy their company. As well as being fun and interesting, animal therapy is also highly important for our residents, as it's relaxing and can also be very social activity." At Melmore, we're committed to delivering exceptional standards of care to the elderly and frail, and animal therapy is just one of the ways in which we try to enrich the lives of our residents. The animals are owned by Therapy Pony Scotland, which offers therapeutic visits to care homes, nursing homes and hospitals. A Don's mad football fan, who is the star of a video documenting his fight against dementia, hopes it can help others with the condition. Malcolm Steele, 56, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 4 years ago. The well-known football coach, who helped set up Cove Boys Club so his twin sons Keith and Paul, now 21, had a team to play for, now attend Football Memories sessions organised monthly by the Aberdeen Football Club Community Trust and Alzheimer's Scotland. Malcolm, who still participates in walking football sessions aimed at over 50s and regularly attends Don's games, was selected to take part in the short film after being made aware of it through Football Memories. It was made as part of UEFA's Equal Game initiative, which aims to promote inclusion and diversity, and since it was published on the Don's social media channel, it has been viewed more than 25,000 times. Malcolm's wife Tracy said, "We spent 2 days with the crew and they were such lovely people. When I first saw it, I was in tears. It was straight to the heart. It still gives me goosebumps. I can't believe how well they've captured it. It's reached so many people and the reaction has been so positive. UEFA haven't even released it yet. It's only gone through Aberdeen and yet it's reached 25,000 people. It's unbelievable." Former paper mill worker Malcolm and Tracy believe the project has been really good for him. Malcolm said, "Football has been a massive part of my life. I played at amateur level and once I gave that up, I helped set up a team for my sons. I've also been an Aberdeen fan and I've always loved going to Pittodrie. I was devastated when I got the diagnosis and it was a really tough thing to try to come to terms with." Tracy added, "We found out about Football Memories through Alzheimer's Scotland. Malcolm really enjoys going along and he always comes out with a smile on his face. At the sessions, people can talk about their experiences, share memorabilia and also get visits from former players." Malcolm said, "I really enjoy being with the other members of the group. There's a lot of banter and that lifts my spirits. I've met so many people through it and it's really nice. It has made such a positive difference to my life. I feel the video is important because it will let people know that services like that are out there for them." David Smith, Aberdeen Football Club's Senior Community Projects Officer, added, "Football Memories really helps people engage with special memories. It's a much-needed project and helps people make friends and feel part of the club and the community." Sarah Duff, Alzheimer's Scotland South Aberdeenshire manager, added, "Alzheimer's Scotland football memory groups in Aberdeen have been a big success and we thank all those involved for their continued support. Football holds a special place in Scottish life and fans and communities often have a strong emotional connection with the football clubs they support. We have seen firsthand the power of this connection in supporting people with dementia who participate in football reminiscence activities. More than 200 groups now meet on a regular basis across the country. They use old football images, artefacts and sensory objects to stimulate memories and encourage discussions." Pupils at an Aberdeen school have brought a splash of colour to their community. The children at Kittebrusa Primary teamed up with international artist Patrico Forrester to transform a grey electricity substation into an eye-catching 3D mural. The building, which is based at Woodside Medical Centre, has been turned into a giant colourful boombox. Funding for the £3,000 project was awarded to the pupils through Aberdeen City Council's You Decide participatory budgeting event for Tillydrone, Woodside and Seaton. Argentinian artist Patrico was delighted to help the youngsters with their challenge. The International Art Project also involved other adults who live on Great Northern Road, who the pupils visit as part of a school project. Both groups were given advice by Patrico before the painting took place at the weekend. Samara McIntyre, deputy head teacher at the school, said, "We have a group of children who visit Clifton Court residents and they help teach the older adults digital skills. I had heard through a friend that Patrico was looking to do some work in Aberdeen, and it got everyone thinking of where we could do a mural." Residents at Clifton Court said they looked out onto the substation every day and it seemed like the perfect place. They said it looked quite depressing. Mrs. McIntyre added it was important that he met with the adults and children involved so they could come up with the idea together. "It has been amazing, the number of people who came to help us with the project. Anyone was welcome to get involved. We had families, children and former pupils all come to help. I'm delighted at how it turned out. It all came together and I think this is shown to the community spirit. The main thing is both the children and older adults are happy with how it has turned out. They wanted bright colours and the design really captures that." Patrico, who is part of the international art group Art Mongers, said, "We work with children and older people and we started a creative process which we worked together on ideas and designs. It's all about public art and public engagement, looking to create an icon in the community that people can be proud of. I'm delighted how the project turned out. It took on a life of its own. The boombox has really enhanced public space." They might have a combined age of 190, but twins at the North East Care Home are loving life on a new bike. The Trishaw, a combination of a tricycle and rickshaw, has allowed residents, including 95-year-old twins Janet and Nancy, access to exercise and a way to enjoy the great outdoors. It has proved a big hit with everybody at the Balmedy House Care Home. The project originally came about through a partnership between Balmedy, Balhelvie, Church of Scotland and Cycling Without Age Scotland. The aim was to purchase a specially constructed trishaw which would enable the residents and their families to spend time outside with the wind in their hair and the sun on their faces, making happy memories. Church members helped with the fundraising, amassing £2,500. Balmedy mustered another £5,000 to purchase the trishaw. Staff members were then trained in how to use the vehicle and the residents were ready for adventure. Unit manager Anne Reid said, "Almost all of them have been out on the trishaw. It has brought back many memories of days gone by when motorised transport was rare. Sharing stories has been amazing and made staff think how hard life must have been in the 1940s and 50s. Janet and Nancy are twins who have always been very close and we are able to reunite the two ladies. They moved into Balmedy House and their rooms are next to each other," she said. We have a scripture text today from Psalm 121 verses 1 and 2, which says, "I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth." Amen.
Amen. I was trying to think where the first news story that you mentioned about the Shetland ponies was last heard, but in fact there was an article where they'd come to the Aberdeen Royal Infirmary.
That's right.
And covered them.
Oh, that's
there.
right.
So
Yeah.
now here they are in Kemnate, and they've obviously been doing a great job. It'll be interesting to see if we can. There could be other ways in which you could get old folks engaging in a real way with animals, and indeed going out. I think you've done also previously ones where they've gone out into the garden and they've done some gardening.
So the great thing is they've been trained.
Yes.
The animals, so that they are well behaved.
Yes.
And
greatly appreciated.
Yes, I mean that really draws the appreciation from the people. They feel joined to them. They can communicate with them, you know, and that I think is a very uplifting story, isn't it?
Yes. Definitely.
It certainly struck me when I read it, first of all.
And of course, the Don's Mad footballer, who is a coach, who set in place something for his sons, but of course, it's a whole lot more than that. And now there's something for
the memories.
For the memories, yes, which is really good. And that he's been able to take part in a film which has been seen by just so many people already.
Isn't that a very uplifting story?
Yes.
Because he feels better, his wife Tracy, she feels better, and everybody who attends the memory sessions feels good every week.
Yes.
I think that's fabulous, that story, actually.
Because they live for that.
See, many people, when they have an illness, especially this sort, they tend to maybe they give up.
Yeah.
But this is a very, very good system to keep them going and to make them feel as good as everybody else.
Yeah. And as Malcolm Steele says, it's the banter that he really enjoys. And he said it really lifts my spirits, so that it's amazing. Now, then you've got the story of the Kitty Brewster School creating this striking 3D mural.
Yes, unfortunately we cannot show you this, but in the paper there's a photograph of the...
in colour.
Yeah, and it really looks tremendous, doesn't it?
Yes.
Such an encouragement that it is to the residents of Clifton Court, because they're not looking at a dull, uninteresting
But then
item.
This is good because this is something that Aberdeen City are doing much more of, an intergenerational art project. So it's something for old and young alike.
That's excellent. It is excellent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's very much a wide range of people that are benefiting from this, young to old.
Yeah. And age again comes in at the Travel in Style at the care home, and
The
Trishaw, which would enable residents and families to spend time outside, and so the church has helped with £2,500, and giving people an opportunity to get out and about.
It is, because quite often in these homes and that many people just sit back.
Yes, and just
and
give up.
Vegetate.
Yeah.
Yes, but this sort of Trishaw really gets them out, and they can enjoy the community and life.
They can be part of it, and it's about life, enabling people to have life to the full, and that's
Exactly.
yeah, that's what we're
Yeah.
about.
Indeed.
Right, now Brian, can I get you to read out the scripture once again?
From Psalm 121, the first two verses state, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth.
Excellent, Brian. Thank you very much. Now, I would say we'll see you next week, but in actual fact, we're going to be taking a break, so we'll see you on the 14th of June, back again,
Very
and
good.
we're looking forward to it.
So am I.
Yes. Okay, see you then. On the 14th of June, back again,
Very
and
good.
we're looking forward to it.
So am I.
Yes. Okay, see you then. Yes, indeed. See you then. Thanks very much to Brian for coming in and doing recording that. Now, it's that time of year. People are thinking about gardens. I'm thinking about bees, in fact. I've got to get our bees ready. We've been doing a lot of work there. I might tell you a little bit about that a little bit later on in the programme. But firstly, a few green tips to think about when going away, or when just planning really for the summer. Perhaps you're going to have the family and have the family over, perhaps to have barbecues and things like that. Just think a little bit more, and if everyone did something more, maybe we can reduce the effect on the environment. So first of all, it's quite likely of an evening that you will have finished watching TV for the evening, press the remote control and think it's all off. It's not, because the TV is still on standby. It's still ready to spring into action. But if you turn off the power socket, then that will be off. And I suppose similarly, if you're not going to be using it for long periods of time, your router, also your wireless router, that could be something that you could turn off, and that would also help to save power. Don't leave things on charge, indeed, overnight or when you're not going to be in the house. Not only does it a little bit of a fire hazard, but it's still using power as you're going to be away. Choose energy efficient appliances and light bulbs. Many light bulbs are LED now, certainly in the streets, and you can emulate the councils by choosing to have LED light bulbs if you can afford them, and they will certainly reduce down the amount of electricity that you use. And certainly go for energy saving light bulbs. Now, save water. You can save water like turning off the tap when you're brushing your teeth or shaving. Collect the water used to wash vegetables and salad to water your houseplants. Lower your shades or close your curtains on hot days to keep the house cool and reduce the use of electric fans or air conditioning. Let clothes dry naturally, like out on the line if possible. Keep the lids on pans when cooking to conserve energy. Use rechargeable batteries. That's always a good thing. Now, if you have any disposable location for used batteries, glass, plastics, paper and other wastes, then you can use that. And there's a recycling centre along Hazelhead Avenue in Hazelhead Park here in Aberdeen, and likewise they will be available from other places in Aberdeenshire as well. Don't use throwaway products like paper plates, napkins or plastic knives or forks or cups, and send electronic greetings over the email instead of paper or cards. And if you can, when it's a birthday time or something, do recycle and reuse wrapping paper, and also these envelopes as well. Envelopes could be reused as well, and certainly these padded pockets, envelopes that can be reused as well. If you can, do what you can to save that. Now, while you're out shopping, do buy fruit and vegetables that are in season to help reduce enormous transport costs resulting from importing produce, and where possible choose locally produced food. That may mean that you might have to walk around a wee bit, but you can do that. When buying fish, look out for a variety of non-endangered species and buy local fish if possible. Like, for example, up here it would be fish caught from the North Sea and preferably closer to Aberdeen. And if you are going to be going shopping, and just one or two things, try not to use the car and walk if you possibly can instead. That will again make a difference. Short car journeys can really tend to mount up, and the car engine won't be really that warm when you're sort of simply going to and from the supermarket with just barely a mile in between. So try and avoid using the car if at all possible. Bring your own bags to the grocery and reuse plastic bags that create so much waste. Look out for products that have less packaging as well. And at work, use printers that can print on both sides of the paper. We do have such a printer, and it was given to us as a gift, so that was a real blessing to us. And yes, we do use that, and if possible we try to only use paper that we actually need to, but when we're printing out for the radio station, sometimes that can generate quite a bit, and you get paper and paper. But always ask for and buy recycled paper if you can for your business stationery and to use in printers. Turn off computer monitors, printers and other equipment at the end of each day if possible. Always turn off your office lights and computer monitor when you go out for lunch or to a meeting. And obviously for security, you can actually even lock your computer if you're planning to come back to that again at work. On holiday, well, It's not going to be so easy for us, but anyway, go on holiday during the off-peak period to prevent overstraining resources. You also avoid the crowds. Be interesting. Find out about places before you visit. You may be using an environmentally sensitive area, in which case you must take extra care to stay on the footpaths and follow signs. Don't travel by air if you can avoid it, because air travel uses up large amounts of fossil fuels and creates greenhouse gases. Dispose of any rubbish responsibly. It can be hazardous to wildlife. Use public transport, cycle or walk instead of using a car, and if it's only for short journeys, do just try and use a car really instead. Use facilities and trips run by local people wherever possible. Don't be tempted to touch wildlife and disturb habitats, whether it be on land or at the coast or underwater. Be careful what you choose to bring home as a holiday souvenir, and many species such as coral and conch shells to elephants and alligators are endangered because they're killed for curios or souvenirs. Don't leave any rubbish at the beach. It can be dangerous for wildlife. Boats and jet skis create noise and chemical pollution that is very disturbing to wildlife, and don't keep running the engine unnecessarily. Just a few hints and tips for you, but still keep in mind that if we make an effort to do something for the environment, and if we all do that, cutting down our use of fossil fuels, cutting down our use of cars, choosing, for example, petrol over diesel, choosing electric over petrol if we possibly can, choosing to walk instead of take the car or cycle, or even take the bus. And buses, well, we've got hydrogen buses here in Aberdeen, and we've also got cleaner hybrid buses as well. And definitely, if you can, take the bus or walk or whatever. These are just a few hints and tips, and that can make a huge difference. As I was saying a little bit earlier, I was watching this Steve Backshall program, going to really far away places, but he went there with more of a special scientific object in mind, and that was for him to see himself and the team to see for themselves the effect that global warming was having on the glaciers. And what has been happening on the Greenland ice sheet is that the Greenland ice sheet can be up to 3 kilometers deep in ice. And you might say, well, so what? There's a lot of ice. Yes, but all around that, glaciers are retreating at a tremendous level. The ice sheet itself reflects a lot of the energy into space, a lot of the sun's energy. But the land around it is absorbing huge amounts of energy because that land is dark. And that means that with less reflection of the energy and with more melting, it makes for the oceans absorbing a lot of heat as well. And more melting leads to a rise in ocean levels. And more melting can then affect the amount that the Greenland ice sheet, or indeed even in Antarctica, will be able to reflect. And this means that the world is going to grow much warmer. There will be more extreme weather events. There will be lots of things going on that are undesired. And it will mean also that people in just really 10, 20 years or less or more, I'm not sure, could mean, well, people will be out of house, home, and maybe even lose their lives. Up to 1 billion people, even the currently 1/7 of the world's population, as a result of global warming, could lose their lives, could lose their homes, could lose their livelihoods as a result of what we're doing today. And one of the things that Steve Backshall was seeing is how the ice, which normally holds together the rocks on the mountains, because the ice was melting, and it's actually making the mountains much, much more friable. And you say, well, so what's that to me? It means that these places and everything that supports them it means that they're going to disappear much more quickly, and it means that the support that's there to keep this ice sheet in place and to keep it doing what it needs to do, because it affects even the world climate. This ice sheet will get thinner and thinner, and everything that supports it will go, because the mountains will crumble away. And this has been shown by Steve Backshaw and his team, and indeed by many scientists. So everything that we do does have an effect, and we can make a huge difference if we try. Let's think about that. But let's get on to our third community element.
Glory Road Ministries has been serving the trucking industry for 15 years now. We have given support to and love to lorry drivers and their families. We've shown them the love of Christ, but we need your help. As with any other ministry, we have people that we need, and we need people in Scotland to help us to carry on the work of GRM up there. It's quite lively. We do outreaches, truck shows, we get churches, and it's a typical fun ministry. We get to meet all sorts of interesting people from all over the world and share the gospel with them. We would dearly love you to come and join us and be part of the Glory Road family. You can call me on 07903 522 012. I'm the GRM chaplain, Chris Newport. I'm on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to meet any need that you might need to have met. We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, keep on trucking.
All aboard!
Catch the Gospel Blues train with me, Linz Honeyman, on Gospel for Grampian Radio each Monday at 9 p.m. for a journey of discovery as we delve into the abundant world of gospel blues music, as well as taking the odd detour into the lands of rhythm and blues, soul and gospel. And if you missed the train, you can hear the show again on Fridays at 2 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 p.m. So get on board the Gospel Blues train on Gospel for Grampian Radio, living life to the full.
We're here at the Aberdeen Seafarer Centre. Have you heard of us? Do you know what we do? We're here to care for the welfare of all seafarers, irrespective of race or religion, and give them some home comforts whilst they spend months away from family and friends. We're an island nation. Do you know that? I'm sure you do. Do you also know that without seafarers, our shelves in the supermarkets would dry up within 8 days, and you would have no food, you would have no fuel, and life would be miserable? We want you to be part of that story of caring for seafarers. There are many opportunities for you to help and volunteer with us. Why don't you come down to the Seafarer Centre any evening, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m, and have a chat with Howard Drysdale, the Centre Superintendent and Manager. There are many opportunities to help, and if you get in touch with us, we'll give you those opportunities. We'll match your skill set and your gifting with the things that need to be done here. We couldn't survive without our volunteers, and the service we give to seafarers free is reliant on the many volunteers who come and give of their time to support seafarers from all over the world. It's fun, it's easy, it's a great thing to be doing, and you'll meet some wonderful people in the process. So get in touch with Howard Drysdale on 0775 4141 076 or by email at seachaplain, that is SEACHAPLAIN, seachaplain at gmail.com. Thanks for listening. That is SEACHAPLAIN, seachaplain at gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Thanks indeed. Right, now on to a quickie for our third community element for today. This is the Community Elements Show, and the programme goes out again Saturday and Sunday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m, and you can hear this again as a podcast as well. Now, thinking more about the environment. Yes, we're thinking a lot about the environment, and we're thinking about what can actually be done to make a difference. And one of the things that people are doing increasingly is turning to allotments. And I was this week accompanying some green flag judges around an allotment at Slopefield Allotments, and meeting up with a school. And the school was Airy Hall Primary School, and they have and help out at the community allotment at the Slopefield Allotments, and that's not far from the Airy Hall School itself. And one of the things I was learning about as I was walking around with the judges was that there is a much greater emphasis by people on actually growing produce for themselves. And indeed, that certainly shortens down the amount of air miles, and it makes a huge difference as well. And there's a waiting list for allotments. People often now like to go and do much more by way of work on allotments. I know one gentleman who was with us, and he had previously been working and a volunteer, and I think chairman actually, with a local hospital radio station called Grampian Hospital Radio. And anyway, he has now turned to coming to his allotment of an evening or of the weekend and growing food for himself, and has taken quite a leading role in that. One of the other things that people have been doing is to have beehives on their allotments, and it's up to Muggins to go around for the local authority and say whether people can have beehives on their allotments. But what we're trying to do, as well as having beehives, because honeybees are only one type of bee, but there are 250 different kinds of bee in the UK, and we want to encourage also other types of bee. For example, 24 species of bumblebee, and the rest are solitary bees, and only one type of honeybee. But we want to encourage a wide range of pollinators to come and just going around the allotments. Many people were growing different flowers, and flowers of different lengths, flowers of different colours. And these different lengths and different colours would favour different kinds of bee, different kinds of insect. So it's really, really pleasing to see indeed. Now, one of the things that, as I'm recording this on a Thursday, a Friday rather, I'm going to have to go over to the bees this afternoon and actually go and sort them out. I've got to go and add some extra frames to the hives to make sure that they can build out frames. So what's actually been happening down at the apiary? Well, about 2 or 3 weeks back, we noted that in the hives there were some queen cells. Now, queen cells are produced when the colony feels it's like just getting to bursting point, and these are long queen cells, much longer than normal worker brood cells. And these queen cells, the queens inside, the grubs have been fed up, the brood has been fed up on a special diet of royal jelly, and this royal jelly is produced from honey and has been produced from pollen, and is really rich in vitamins and everything that a queen needs. Now, these queen cells produce, quite a few of them are produced by the colony, just to make sure that the colony has the best chance of surviving. And that's in a sense why many plants will produce so many seeds. They produce seeds because they're not sure how many plants will survive, but they want to be able to put in the best that they can and make sure that, in this case, the colony of bees has the best chance. Now, beekeepers capitalize on that because once the bees have produced these queen cells, it means that they're going to swarm. Swarming is a natural function of bees, and beekeepers realize that they don't want to be losing all their bees or their queen. So what they now do is there's a special method by which individual frames, for example with queen cells on, can be put into another beehive box, into another brood box, along with some other frames which can be like nurse bees. And in this way, we've been able to divide up one hive into 3 hives. So we now have actually 4 hives, hopefully worth of bees, and I'm going to put some extra frames in alongside, and that will hopefully mean that the bees can build out, and they might actually be able to make a huge difference during this summer, and we will have 4 working colonies of bees instead of just 2. So that's what we've been doing. So this afternoon, Muggins will be out making sure that the bees have everything that they need to be able to function while we're away. And it's generally a good idea just to let the bees get on with things. They usually sort everything out according to what they believe is best. They're a pretty canny bunch, those bees, you know. Anyway, the hope is that even by next year we'll have 4 colonies of bees going into next year, and that means that we'll then have the potential to get a little bit more honey. Honey is not the only reason for keeping bees. More is, again, just like with allotments, it's the joy of keeping bees, the interest that they can actually give. And I have to say, just working and speaking to other beekeepers, there's a huge amount of interest and banter, and you can talk about all sorts of things, and certainly talk about bees until the cows come home, or indeed the honey comes back into the hive. You tuned into Gospel for Grampian, and I trust that you've been interested and in the community elements that we've been picking out today for you. We hope that you will get in touch with us. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then it's info@g4g.org.uk. We've got some great music for you coming up now. It's Kim Walker-Smith and Spirit Breakout, and we wish you a very great weekend and a very great week. If you're going away on holiday, remember those hints and tips, and we hope that you have a great holiday. Drive safely and get back, and do tune in to Gospel for Grampian throughout, as we'll have some great music for you. You'll be able to hear these hints and tips again, and do go to our website for more information. But for the moment,